Hello my dear health seekers, Inga from Health Origins here. So today I've got an exciting recipe. I'm going to be recording my recipe of how to make great tasting soy milk at home without using any special soy milk maker, but yet still make sure that there's no beany taste. So let's begin. So in the past, in the previous video that was quite popular on my channel of me making the soy milk with the blender, I've gone through the long painstaking process of taking the skins off the soybeans, and that takes forever. It's very labor intensive, but I've realized that you don't need to necessarily do that. The milk comes out really tasty anyway, just by adding a pinch of salt and making sure that we pour boiling water on the beans when we initially blend them. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So this is 1 cup of soybeans that are soaked overnight, so over 12 hours. So at least 12 hours you want, and you actually don't want to soak them for that much longer either, because if you soak them for too long, they become so soft that actually a lot of that pulp can come through the nut milk bag or whatever bag you're going to be using. So 12 hours, I find it's like a really good time, so just overnight. So this is 1 cup. And I'm going to be using 1.7, so the maximum that my kettle allows. You could probably put it up to 2 liters, but my blender maximum has 2 and a bit liter capacity. So with the beans and the water, I think it'll be at the very top. So that's why it'll be perfect, and it'll be a bit creamier milk. So if your blender can't handle that much liquid, or you just want to do half the amount, do half a cup of soybeans, and that makes, then you need 1 liter of boiling water. So I'm gonna get this water boiling and we're gonna start. So while the water is boiling, I'll just quickly tell you about the Soyabella, the milk making machine that I bought since making this video, and oh my goodness, it makes soy milk making such a breeze. All you do is basically soak the beans overnight the same, add to this little there's a little container adds up onto the motor here, put it in with some salt and water, and 15 minutes later you just pour the milk. No straining needed, it's all done, so it's excellent. So if you can get your hands on Soyabella, I'll link down below where you can buy yours. So I would definitely recommend if you if you plan to make a lot of soy milk. However, if it's just one-off, or just once in a while you're going to do it, this is quite a a good way of doing it as well. A bit more labor intensive, with obviously having to sieve through the milk afterwards, but it's still not too long. So I'm gonna start putting my soya beans into the blender. If you see some beans that are quite hard and little, they haven't expanded, obviously remove them if you can spot them. And then I'm gonna put a large pinch of salt here. That just helps with the beany taste as well. And then the water is nearly boiling. So the water has just boiled, and it's important to pour boiling water on the beans because that helps with that beany taste as well. So with 1.7 liter of boiling water and the beans, it actually came up to 2 liters on my blender. So I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna blend it for about 2 minutes. So the soybeans have been blending for 2 minutes. And careful when you first start blending, maybe start from like a little bit less, because I put it on 10 and it'll just splat a little bit at the start. So careful, don't burn yourself, because obviously there's quite a bit of steam and pressure. And that's why it's good that mine kind of lets some steam out. It's not fully closed. Is if your is kind of Vitamix or some blender that is no air can escape, it, you know, be careful with that. I'm not sure, you'd need to probably see if you can actually do that in your blender. So I'm gonna pour it into my nut milk bag. I really need to get myself a bigger nut milk bag because this one is just tiny. It doesn't come onto the sides of my container. So just pouring all the, and there's some curds that left over in here as well, so we'll just leave them. And this is very hot now, so you could either try, oh, there's some curds escaping from the entrance here. So you could either try and you know, press it with the spatula like this against the sides, or you could, you know, leave this milk to cool down to the point where you can actually do it by hand, and I prefer doing that rather than trying to press with the spatula. So I'm going to leave this to cool down to the point where I can actually handle by hand. So my soy milk has sufficiently cooled down, well, near enough. I'm using a little kind of silicone mitt to try and squeeze the last of this soy milk out. And remember, this soy milk is still raw, so it's not good to consume yet. You still need to cook it, so that'll be good. After you squeeze all you can from it, you will need to heat it up for about, and boil it for about 15-20 minutes. My Thermomix luckily does, you know, the stirring and cooking in here as well, so I'm just gonna pour it back in there and cook it for about 20 minutes. And after that point, we'll check and see, you know, do the taste test, and then see how does the soy milk taste. If you don't have obviously a Thermomix, just do it in a normal pot. Have it on quite low, and don't forget to keep on stirring every so often so it doesn't burn, you know, the soy milk doesn't burn to the bottom. And I'll put a little tiny extra bit of salt. You could have potentially skipped the salt before and just added to the milk at this point. I didn't think, because obviously you're just getting rid of the pulp anyway, so you could just put the salt now at this stage when we're going to be cooking it. And while the milk is cooking, let's talk about the soy pulp. So leftover soy pulp is called Okara, and you could do so many things with Okara. It's, you know, still got quite a lot of nutrients, fiber, protein, so definitely don't chuck it. I mean, you can put it in your compost bin as well, but I, you know, try use it in different recipes, and there are a few soy pulp or Okara recipes I've got on my channel. I'll link to a few of them down below and in the card above. I made burgers, I made brownies, I made cookies. So this Okara, differently from the one that I get from Soyabella, is not cooked Okara. So this Okara still needs to be cooked to be consumed. So make sure whatever recipes you make that you do cook them for, you know, good 20 or 30 minutes so that the Okara gets cooked through. So yeah, so don't throw this out. Make sure you use it, because it's really nutritious and really good for you. So I'll catch up with you once this has been boiling for about 20 minutes. So my soy milk cooked for 20 minutes here in my Thermomix. If you don't have a Thermomix, like I said, you could just do it on your normal stovetop pot. Just simmer it on low, keep on mixing every so often for about 15-20 minutes, at least 15 minutes. So I'm gonna just pour it into my mason jars here. I like keeping them in like 1 litre, or these slightly smaller mason jars, handy to put in the fridge. So yeah, so this is obviously too hot for me to taste test yet. I'm gonna pour a little bit out into my glass, and I'm gonna wait for it to cool down slightly, and I'm gonna be taste testing it. So this is the moment of truth. The milk has been chilling in the fridge for an hour or so, so let me taste test it. Even I've tried it when it was still warm and I couldn't taste, you know, beany flavor, so let's see. Pretty neutral, guys, pretty neutral. I can't really taste the beany taste, if I'm honest. So if you like this new shorter and quicker video of making a yummy homemade soy milk without a soy milk machine, then give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, welcome, and subscribe for more videos from me on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And remember, food is fuel, so be mindful of what you put in the body. Until next time.